This episode of Fuel for the Soul is powered by ASICS. Head over to asics.com and sign up for a one ASICS account. It's completely free, and when you sign up, you will receive 10% off your first purchase. You'll also gain access to exclusive colorways on asics.com, free standard shipping, special birthday month discounts, and more.
Hi, this is Thomas with Believe in the Run.
This is Megan with Believe in the Run.
And this is Megan with Featherstone Nutrition.
AKA Feathers. I don't even understand why I go first anymore because I'm really the last person on the show.
It's just how we've always done it.
It should go Megan Feathers first, then you, and then this guy, and then peas and carrots. We're out.
We can't
Something
change
like
it
that.
now.
All right, we'll stick
It'll
with
mess
it.
me up.
So you are listening to Fuel for the Soul, the podcast where we chat all things hydration and nutrition and how it affects performance. And we are going to answer a bunch of your questions today. Turns out everyone has a lot of questions about hydration.
Which I was
is
going to say, yeah, it's summertime.
not surprising given how much we're sweating. In fact, I had a nice little trip to Seattle where I was not in humid conditions. And then I came back and did a run this morning, and it was like a reawakening of how awful it is.
Was it like a sponge? Like when you went out, did you just feel like you're squeezing out the goo?
Yeah. Just
I mean, I've
muddled
had
up.
like soupy shoes for every run.
Yeah.
Like my shoes are even wet, which is something I only experienced in Texas and Florida in the past. And here we go.
Right?
Well, what's challenging about that for us is we have to review the shoes, so we like
Oh,
to
no.
weigh them. So I have to
no.
make sure the shoe is dry before I put on the scale. It can add like
I'm
3
sure.
ounces to a shoe. It's insane.
I'm sure.
So especially if they have a knit and it
Yeah.
soaks up all that sweat.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We, our friend Kim Conley stayed with us this weekend, and we went for a long run on Monday. My longest run yet, inspired by her chatting me up.
Nice.
But anyways, we finished, and she goes, "You look like you just showered." She's like, everything on you is just dripping. And I was like, I told you I sweat like crazy.
Wait, so Kim wasn't sweaty?
No, I told her, I was like, you're not even sweaty. And she was like, yes, I am. She's like, look, my shirt's a little sweaty. I'm like, your shirt's a little
little.
sweaty. That's
See,
how I
this is-
am in 40 degrees.
Is it possible that elite athletes are just people who don't sweat?
Well, I do think there's something to, I mean, we've all seen elite athletes that are super sweaty. So like, it's certainly not a requirement, but we've talked about this before. Like some of the most elite marathon runners are barely glistening when they finish a hot run, you know? So I do think it's a genetic advantage to not be crazy sweaty.
Speaking of sweating and running, we teased this product last time, but exciting to let everyone know that Salty Carbs is coming to Runway. So Megan, tell everyone about it.
It is. Here's the official bag instead of the dime bags that we were looking at before.
Mama's
So-
got a new bag.
Mama's got a big bag of salty carbs over here. This one is raspberry lemonade. They also have a melon flavor. When I just tried them up front, I thought I liked melon more. It was a little more mild. And it really wasn't like a watermelon. It was like a true like blend of all melons. Like it was melony. Yeah. But then I took a bottle of each on my bike ride and I actually finished the raspberry lemonade first. So I don't know. Maybe I do like that one more, but they're both delightful. And they also have an unflavored. But what we love about this is it's possible that we were involved in telling them our thoughts on what maybe should be in this product. And I was like, it needs more sodium, right? We have so many options right now with 400 milligrams of sodium for in-run fuel. So this one has 700 milligrams of sodium, hence the salty carbs, and 30 grams of carbs per serving. So it's a good option to get more sodium and some carbs in your bottle while you're out there. You can technically stack it, so you could like double it in your bottle if you wanted to. I haven't tried that yet.
Morton and gels like that don't have any sodium in them.
Sodium.
This could also help with that.
Yeah. Yeah. So anybody who is a saltier, heavier sweater, like 300, 400 milligrams of sodium an hour in this heat is not enough, right? So it's kind of exciting that this has 700 milligrams because I was kind of concocting my own concoction over here to try to get to 700 or 800 milligrams in a bottle. So this just does it for you, you know, super no-brainer there. And it's really good. I think sometimes when we put a lot of salt in things, it doesn't taste that palatable or it tastes really salty, and this doesn't. Like it was very, very palatable.
Yeah.
So I think it's a great way for people who are looking for more sodium.
And we're going to have a pre-sale link included in the show notes. And then if you use the code FEATHERS15 at checkout, you will get a new blue squirt bottle with your purchase. And you said something else.
Samples of the other
little
flavors that
flavor
you don't
samples.
purchase. Yeah.
Okay.
So say you buy one flavor, they'll give you samples of. So they're thinking this is going to sell out pretty quick, especially because we're launching it in the summer when we all need exactly this. So that pre-sale link, when you sign up for it, they'll send you a link so that you can buy it early, so that you make sure that you get it for all of our loyal listeners who are also Runway fans.
All right, let's continue our hydration conversation and answer some of these questions here. Again, we have some lovely audio submissions, so we will play them.
Hi, Fuel for the Soul team. This is Alex from San Diego with a hydration question. I was just wondering how I should count ounces of non-water beverages towards my daily hydration needs. So for example, like, is an 8-ounce glass of milk, coffee, orange juice, etc., providing me with the same amount of hydration as the equivalent amount of water would? Say I was tracking like the amounts of water I'm consuming, would I count non-water drinks for slightly fewer ounces? Maybe I'm overthinking it. I'm definitely a heavy sweater and really focused on hydrating properly this summer. So thanks in advance for your answer, and peas and carrots.
All right. First, I love that she said peas and carrots. But two, as soon as she said San Diego, I started thinking of Ron Burgundy, San Diego, and milk is a bad choice. Milk was a bad choice. Like, that was from that movie, right?
Yes.
Okay. I get them all confused. I was trying to remember which one that Will Ferrell took the dart in the neck. But that was old school, yeah.
So good.
All right.
So
is
good.
milk
Yeah.
a
It all just goes
hydrating
together.
liquid?
Yes, and Alex is definitely overthinking this. All of those fluids count towards our daily fluid intake. The only thing we can't count is alcohol. So everything else that we're consuming can go towards the amount of ounces. Thomas is like, well, I do. Maybe that's your problem, buddy. So anything can count towards that. So they've actually done different studies of like, how do different liquids hydrate us? So if we think water is like a 1, right? So water is our like standard comparison of hydrating us. We actually know that some beverages hydrate us better than water, which we alluded to earlier with our runway convo. So some of the drinks that actually can hydrate us better or faster than water would be our electrolyte drinks. So the things that have some sugar and some sodium in them. And then actually milk hydrates us faster than water because it has some carbs and some sodium. Yeah. So like electrolytes would be considered like a 1.5 and milk would be like a 1.4. So we actually hydrate ourselves better with some of those things, but we don't need to count extra, or we can all just count the ounces. So yeah, we have all sorts of beverages that we can use to hydrate us, not just water.
Okay.
Including coffee, because people always think coffee is a dehydrator.
Yeah.
Nope, not at all. So our
remember
daily
bubbly
coffee
water? People were
consumption
saying
counts.
bubbly water didn't count. Bubbly water counts.
It counts.
Megan
I'd
would
be
be
a
a
prune.
raisin without without.
Wait, what's really funny is, so we interviewed Emma Grace Hurley in New York City for one of the stops on Move Her Mind, and the topic of is coffee hydrating came up, and she was like, people have been telling me it doesn't count towards hydration, and she was like so happy to hear that Megan was like, no, it does, and she was like, I knew it, it's water.
It is.
She was so funny. Yeah. She's like, exactly. Common sense here, people. It's water. It counts. Right?
Megan also ran into her at the supermarket
Yeah.
in Baltimore.
Stop.
Oddly enough.
What was she doing in Baltimore?
So her friend Jen lives here, and they ran in school together, and she runs with Believe Run Club, and I happened to go to Whole Foods, which never do.
Okay, wait. Why did we end up at Whole Foods? It was
Because
a weird circumstance.
I went to return something from Amazon, and it normally defaults to UPS, but for whatever reason it defaulted to Whole Foods drop off instead. And so I went to the UPS, and they were like, you have to drop this off at Whole Foods now. And I was like, whatever, I'll go pick up some groceries.
Which, that's the brilliant thing. They
crazy.
put the Amazon return there, and then you spend more than the item was worth
100%.
at Whole Foods. We ended up getting like all this stuff for the grill, and we're like, I was like, how much was it a dress?
Shoes, I think.
Shoes or
Dress
something.
shoes.
And I was like, how much did those cost? And Megan threw out the number, and I looked at our receipt, and I'm like, yeah, we just spent double that on food by returning those shoes.
It's genius. Yeah. You bringing up Emma Grace Hurley made me think. So the national championship for the 6K, great distance, was in Canton this weekend. So it was, like all these stud female runners. So Fiona O'Keefe was there, Annie Frisbee, shoot, who won it? Amanda Vestry. And there was like 50 people spectating at the end of the race. Like no one in Canton had any clue that there was like these incredible Olympic runners and other runners out here on the course. So it was so fun to just be able to be like a centimeter from them as they finish. And yeah, it was really cool. So
next time let us bring out a camera crew.
Right? I think we should do something with it next year and see if we can get some more women
maybe
to show
you
up.
and Meg should run it.
Who sponsors that event?
There's not there's not an apparel or shoe sponsor. No, it's this local woman, Tina, started it 5 years ago because she wanted to empower women and help women race more and do a women's only race. And it was.
And what's the prize purse?
Well done. It was big. It was 6,000. So the pro race starts first, and then there's the open race. I know it was 6,000 for the pro winner, and then there was money. Okay. I won it 3 years ago, but there was no money then. But there is money for the open division now.
Man, now you got to go back and race it.
I know. I haven't done it. Well, with our travel and stuff over the summer, this is the first year I've actually been there for it, and I'm not in shape to run fast right now. So I was like, I'm going to spectate.
That's awesome. Yeah. All right. Let's answer another question here.
Hey, y'all. Long-time listener, first-time caller. I'm currently in marathon training, and I'm also a daily medical cannabis user. In the cannabis community, it's common knowledge that cannabis dehydrates you, so users tend to drink a lot more water than usual. For instance, I tried tracking my water intake because I seem to drink about 32 ounces of water every 2 hours, more or less, and I just gave up tracking because it's a lot of water. I'm also a heavy sweater, and during the summer runs, I come back with a lot of salt grit all over my body. I can just rub my collarbone and see the salt on my fingers. So my question is, should I and other cannabis users be taking in more electrolytes than normal for even heavy sweaters? Is the amount of liquid I'm drinking making me more susceptible to urinate out all the minerals and electrolytes that I have? I can't tell if I'm ingesting enough to balance things out. I don't know if there's any medical studies about this, but I would really appreciate it if you can find out any info about it.
Dude, that guy was high.
I mean, probably.
It would make sense. Okay, I can't get over the 32 ounces an hour. Like, I'm all excited that in the summer I'm down in at least, 2 or 3 20-ounce, like I have a Yeti bottle.
Yeah.
That I'll get those down. Yeah. I might get 2, and I'm like, yes, I'm nailing it, because I figured the coffee and, of course, my big milk intake is getting all my hydration. But, man, 32 ounces an hour?
Feels excessive. So I don't know how many other people are on this bandwagon that need this information, but as I was listening, I was like, no, marijuana does not actually dehydrate us. It's just that THC decreases saliva production, so we feel thirsty.
Oh, cottonmouth.
That's what that cottonmouth is, right? So I was like, I got to make sure my gut intuition here is right. So I'm looking up studies, and there's tons of studies on this. And marijuana actually does not dehydrate us. We just feel dehydrated. So I felt like it was worth addressing this in case I felt like this may be, he said it was common knowledge in the medical cannabis community that it does dehydrate you. And I could find no research to support that. And my gut instinct of knowing how this works in our body also kind of went, wait a minute, I'm not sure if this is true. So the couple things that I thought might be useful for Daniel to know, and anybody else who may be experiencing cotton mouth from THC, is we're probably drinking more.
I can't believe this is something you just said on the show. Anybody else experiencing cotton mouth on Fuel for the Soul?
Well, it's legal so many places. I was like, I feel like maybe this is worth talking about. So you mentioned too, Thomas, about Daniel drinking 32 ounces of water an hour. That was my concern. So if he is suffering from cotton mouth and needs to be drinking more water to feel satiated and not thirsty throughout the day, that's a lot of water that we know if we're drinking that much fluid, we're diluting the sodium in our blood. And then he's saying he's a heavy, salty sweater, and he's got salt caked all over his body. So I was a little bit concerned if he's going to get hyponatremic. So I do think...
But I bet you he's got great skin.
I don't know, maybe. Yeah.
32 ounces an hour? He's basically living underwater.
That's a
Yeah,
lot.
but at that point, like Megan's saying, there's a point where it's too much, and like he could make things worse for himself.
Right. So he definitely needs electrolytes in that mix. And then two, I mean, typically what I tell people, right, is take your body weight, slash it in half, and drink that many ounces of water a day, your body weight in pounds, and then recoup anything you're losing while you're sweating. So like, you know, I lose a liter an hour. So, you know, add that on. Maybe I need 120 ounces a day. But if he's really drinking 32 ounces an hour, then he's probably getting way too much fluid. So he could kind of analyze that, right? And then also want to make sure that he's getting those electrolytes. So I do think it's important just to be very, very aware, right? That just because we feel thirsty from medical cannabis doesn't necessarily mean that we are dehydrated. So really thinking about our water intake, our electrolyte intake, to just make sure that we're not diluting that sodium in our blood by over consuming water throughout the day before that run.
It's in his head that it was dehydrating him, so that's probably half of it.
Yeah.
I feel like now that he's going to know, it's going to be like, oh, okay.
Maybe I don't need to
Don't
drink
have
so
to.
much.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
So
For
we debunked the two things. Coffee does not dehydrate you, and neither does cannabis.
There
What
you
will
go.
be next? What
I
will
don't
be
know.
next?
Let's instead answer someone else's question that's not hopefully about drugs, but I don't know. I haven't listened to it.
Just that one. Just Daniel.
Hi, I'm Cole, and I'm from the Dallas area. And my question is whether or not you can train your body to require less water during a race. I have run 4 marathons so far, one like 15 years ago, and then 3 in the last 3 years. And in every single one, I have worn a hydration backpack. In my most recent marathon, which was in December, in Dallas, I drank the entire contents of the 2-liter hydration backpack, which was filled with kind of a watered down mixture of scratch hydrate and scratch every day, in addition to taking water from every single water station along the way. So I estimate that I drank at least 120 ounces of water over the course of the race. I had a great race. I finished in 3:16 with a negative split, and I felt great. I felt like the nutrition and the hydration was good because my body felt good. But I'm not blind to the fact that nobody around me was wearing a hydration backpack or a hydration vest. And so I'm left wondering how these other people do it. And can I train my body to require less liquid during my next marathon so that I don't have to wear a heavy backpack? So yeah, let me know if there's something I can be doing this summer to decrease my water requirements. And if not, if you have any strategies for how to get that amount of liquid during a race without carrying a backpack. Thanks for the help. Bye-bye.
Holy cow, I am totally impressed, Cole. Like, running a 3:16 with a 2-liter pack on you is insane. You could probably drop 10 minutes off your marathon if we can figure out how to get the backpack off you. That is crazy. When she was first telling the story, I was thinking she's out there for a long time drinking this much water. Feathers, what's going on?
I know. Cole, I do have to say, if we could will our bodies to not need as much fluid, I would have figured it out by now. So we cannot change how much fluid our body actually needs, unfortunately. Plus,
Could you
if she
be
lives in
mentally
Dallas,
off?
Yeah.
Could she just be mentally off? Like it's like, I gotta drink? Like, is it possible that she's drinking too much?
Mentally off isn't how I would put it. But my thought here is, I don't think she actually needs the amount of fluid she's taking to perform how she's performing. So maybe that's what you're getting at, is like, mentally, does she feel like she needs this amount
It's
of
a
fluid to be
safety blanket,
successful?
yeah.
Right. So back to what you said, Thomas, like a 3:16 with a hydration vest, if you want to wear that hydration vest for every single race you do from now on, if that's a little bit of a safety net for you and you feel good, like, do it. Who cares what you look like? Who cares what other people think?
Yeah, but you
You're
can't
running a
wear
3:16.
you can't wear a hydration pack in Boston.
Sure, there's some races where you're not allowed. Sure, that's a
And
thing.
she's definitely qualified. I mean,
fair.
For women, like how
fastest is 3:30, so she's probably in.
Yeah, she's
for sure.
definitely. So there's races where she would not be able.
Yeah. Yeah. But again, I'm like, power to you. Like, that's freaking amazing, right? People used to make fun of me for my compression socks, but, I was running fast in them and healthy, and who cares, right? So it's like, if this works for her, I don't want her to think she has to change it unless, like you're saying, it's a certain race where you're not allowed to carry that pack. So here's my thought. She said a 3-hour, 16-minute marathon. She thinks she took 120 ounces of fluid. So, of course, I had to do that math. That's 37 ounces of fluid an hour. She probably doesn't need that much per hour. Not that her body isn't losing a certain amount, right? But we've said on here before, I typically don't recommend more than 20 to 25 ounces of fluid per hour.
Do you think she's on cannabis?
I don't know. We'll have to ask Daniel. So I do think we could scale this back. And the other thing is, we know we have a ton of research on we can get dehydrated during a race and still have good performance. So when we look at some of the fastest marathoners in the world, they end their marathons 5, 7, 8, 9% dehydrated, which is a lot, right? We all kind of have our own threshold. We all know when we hit a certain percentage of dehydration that our performance decreases. Not that we're all calculating that, but we all know, right? When we get super sweaty or too hot, like that, our performance starts to tank. We can't hold on to paces, things like that. So we want to avoid that. But I do think she has more wiggle room. She doesn't need to be drinking as much as she's drinking if she's out there for just over 3 hours. So I do think she could play around with how can I get a little bit dehydrated out here so that I don't have to carry all this stuff and still not negatively impact my performance. It's kind of funny to hear me say this because she's obviously hydrating so well, and I'm sitting here telling her, get a little dehydrated, right? Which is like crazy for a dietitian to be saying, but I do think she has some wiggle room to play with this for sure.
Something that she didn't mention when she did her call in here is what she's doing pre-race as far as the hydrating, and like we always talk about super hydration, 24 to 48. Hyper, super. 24 to 48 hours before the race. We didn't hear her talk about that. I'm guessing since she's listened to the podcast that she's probably doing that. I can't imagine. That's a lot of water.
It's a lot of water. I agree. And I'm glad she had electrolytes in her backpack because research shows over 25 ounces of water an hour really increases our risk of hyponatremia that we were just talking about. So I want her to be careful with that. But obviously, it sounds like she did okay doing it this way. But
How
I would probably
practice?
So that was what I was going to say. I would encourage her to get a 20-ounce handheld and put her scratch, and I think she said scratch every day, that little combination. So she's got more sodium in her handheld, and then she can kind of nurse that with some water off course would be kind of what I would hope for her. And then maybe we'll need to refill that handheld, maybe not, and kind of juggle that. So in training, I would have her carry that 20 ounce to get used to it because in our hand is very different than in our pack. And then maybe she refills partway through, or maybe she has a second bottle she stashes somewhere on her route, because I do think she'll need more than the one handheld, just given that she's used to so much more fluid, to just kind of see if she can get used to that a little bit more. And then to Thomas's point, making sure that we're hyperhydrating ahead of time and then recouping our losses afterwards, because if we're getting our body used to getting a little dehydrated while we're running, we need to make sure we're recouping that before and after.
All right, we have a somewhat related question, I think. This one is from Chuck from Chop Tank River Running Club.
Oh, that's near here, isn't it?
He said, Delmarva.
Yeah,
no
that's
idea.
the Chop Tank.
He said, hey guys, I live and train in a very rural part of Delmarva, which is beautiful but doesn't lend a lot of resources for support, especially on my long runs. I've used a Camelback for training runs as I don't have anywhere to refill a handheld. This works great for me. I've noticed that I rarely see anyone using these in races though. I'm getting fairly speedy for an old dude, aiming for 3:10 at OCMD Marathon in November. Am I some sort of dullard for using this method on race day? Is it the excess weight? Is it because they look dorky? Maybe I'm missing something.
I mean, it's all that.
Thomas is going to answer this for us.
Yeah, I will tell you, you're faster than I am if you're going for a 3:10, but I'd still go slower without a pack. I used to. You mentioned your high socks, your calf things. And I do, I should probably just be like, hey, whatever works.
I remember, though, early on training, especially through the summer, and it's weird. I started in sort of like ultra trail running and then came to road racing. And in that world, it was just a lot more common to wear a backpack for hydration. And it's really easy and you don't have to refill it. And you can kind of like explore and do whatever. And so I use that quite often for training. But then I think when it came to race day, there's one, like we were talking about, some races don't allow it. And then two, it is supported. So there are alternatives where you don't have to carry everything on your back yourself. And so I think that's likely why most people are not.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it is weird when I see someone with a trail vest on out on the trails. It doesn't strike.
You don't even question it.
Yeah, it's when I see, like if I see, I did wear a Camelback for a 10-mile race one time, the Baltimore 10-mile. And I look back at those, and I'm wearing like 9-inch inseam shorts. All work. I look back at that, and I just shake my head. I'm like, what was I thinking? But
That's so good.
I was having fun. I had a good time.
Yeah. Nathan sent me a hydration pack I need to try because I just have never tried one. Like I feel like I don't have a whole lot to offer because I've never actually run in one. But I think I need to try so that I can relate to this a little bit more.
Yeah. There's actually a cool one coming out that I just met the guy when we were out Western State called Tantrums.
Okay.
And he's another one of those guys. He was a producer. Like I feel like there's people that are in other careers that fall in love with running so hard that then they make product that they want. And he's made a really lightweight vest that's good for heat. So it's like it's not going to keep the heat in on you and stuff like that. And our trail reviewers are loving it. I think I actually want to grab one.
Does it have the Omni speeds all over it?
No, it does not have that. That's only if you're trying to break 4-minute miles in the
with the pack on.
Yeah, with the pack on.
All this to say, Chuck. Yeah, if you want to wear it. Absolutely. But I think Meg made a good point about races are supported, so like you could get enough fluid while you're out there. But I do agree. I think some people don't want to be weighed down by them. Like that's the biggest thing I hear from people is that they're not super comfortable. They don't breathe. They get too hot. It feels too heavy. Their running stride's a little different. That kind of stuff. So if that doesn't bother him, then let people call him dorky as he finishes in 3:10. Like that's not dorky.
Well, because there won't be that many people
it's
there
amazing.
Yet. But I'm not sure when the Ocean City Marathon takes place. It's in November. I mean, he should have pretty cool temps, so I don't know that wearing it would be a hindrance in those temps. But yeah, I just think if you could open up your chest, it's easier to breathe. You get that weight off you. If you can, I would try to figure out a way to do it. And he's also the chop tank. That's like out in that humid bay style running on the Eastern Shore. I think it might be the Eastern Shore, I think. But I mean, I totally understand him wanting a pack for training runs.
Yeah. And I think that brings up a good point that what we do in summer training may look very different than what we do on race day, right? Like if he has a cool November race, he's not going to need that pack. He can use the fluid on course and be fine. So I think it's important to realize we might do something different in the heat of the summer training versus what we're going to have to do at our race.
Yeah, otherwise he might finish with half a gallon of water on his back.
Right? Yeah.
All right, let's answer one more question here. This is from Gabrielle Sucre. How do you say that?
Yeah. Sucre.
We'll do that. Yeah. Sucre. First, I would like to thank you all for the advice given on your podcast. Since finding your podcast, my long runs have become a lot easier and my marathon times have improved, at least when I follow your advice fully. My question is, how should fuel and hydration change under rainy, windy circumstances? The temperature didn't change all that much, but it was more difficult to run, particularly when going into puddles. Now there is also a similar situation that seems to be more frequent, a morning run that starts with a mild rain or drizzle, and then the sun comes out, and then it is hot and humid. In this case, I'm sure the answer is to take more fluids. Anyway, thanks for any insight and for your continuous good work.
Yeah, Sucre, I think is how you pronounce that. But anyway, I could be wrong. The worst part about that, I always jump in first here though. The worst part about that is when you have that rain in the morning. And then the sun comes out and it heats up.
That's what she's talking about.
I know it's not the hydration, it's the chafing.
Oh. I'm thinking of like the steam that comes off the asphalt when it starts to warm up and you're just like, oh, it's going to be bad.
And your sweat doesn't evaporate.
Right.
Yeah.
That's like where we have been here in Ohio. I don't know about you guys. The dew point and the temperature have been like equal every morning,
Yeah.
and
And
it's
you're
just
just slimy.
soupy. Oh, it's awful. Yeah. Yeah. So obviously things are going to change here. We're not frogs, so we can't get hydration through the rain, unfortunately, but it does cool us off a
Wait,
little
frogs
bit.
can do that?
Yeah.
They can drink rain through their skin?
Yeah, they absorb fluid through their skin.
Get out. How do they avoid, like, when they go into a pond or something? How do they not blow up like one of those gummy bears?
Also, how come we haven't invented frog suits so we could just be dumping water on ourselves?
Maybe that's what the frog fuel from last time does.
There it
Maybe we
is.
missed it.
Yeah.
So both of the things that were mentioned here increase our perceived exertion, right? So it's not like the wind or the rain or the humidity necessarily like, I need more carbs, right? But the higher our perceived exertion, the more carbohydrates we're burning, and probably the more we're sweating. So we do want to be thinking like if we need to hit a workout or we're going to be out there for a long time and the conditions are crazy humid, super hot, windy, rainy, all that kind of stuff, like our exertion is going to be higher. So we're going to be burning more energy out there. So we may need more fuel than we would for a normal easy run. So we may just want to make sure that we're taking, other things out there with us. And then too, of course, the hydration piece, as we've been talking about all episode, when it is hot and humid out there, we just lose so much more. I had somebody this week that I was just talking to that on a cool, dry day this week, which I'm not sure how that landed anywhere this week. But anyways, she lost 24 ounces of fluid an hour. And then this weekend when it was super humid, she lost 48 ounces of fluid an hour. So like double, right? So like the amount that we're sweating is crazy. Weighing in and out around a run.
That will tell you that number?
There's a calculator on my
like
website for that.
See, I just like weighing myself after a summer run because I'm lighter.
Probably 5 pounds. There you go. Yeah. That's 2.5 liters of fluid there that you've lost. So then you can just divide that by the amount of time you were out there. And you can see how many ounces you lose per hour in different weather.
I gotta go use that calculator.
Right? Yeah. It's kind of handy. Because, it's really eye-opening, right? Like, who would think you need to consume an extra 86 ounces of fluid after a long run? Most people wouldn't, right?
Right.
So, it can be helpful from that perspective.
All right. I think we talked a lot of hydration and debunked a lot of myths and talked about things I didn't think we were going to talk about today. So it feels like a win.
Feels like fuel for the soul.
Yeah. So if you have a question that we haven't answered, you can send us an email at fuelforthesoulpodcast@gmail.com. We would love to hear your voice as well. So you can create an audio file. You can just record it on your phone or however you like, and also send it to that same email address.
All right, I feel like we're getting ready to start training for fall marathons. So we should start getting those questions
Oh, it's happening now.
For training. Yeah. So exciting.
Can't wait.
Is it time? Peas and carrots.
Bye.
Bye.
How about this? Anybody experiencing nosebleed with their cocaine problem? Cannabis, coffee, good. Alcohol, bad. I don't know. We probably should do mushrooms next.
Oh, geez. Okay.
You know what? Someday we're going to be answering that question. I just know it.
Okay. All right.